Resident Evil is 30 years old now, and it's a series that has had a huge impact on the video game industry and has been a part of my gaming life for over 20 years now. So join me as I go back in time and explore how I became a Resident Evil fan with the release of RE4 on Gamecube, and explore how I have continued to engage with the series and what my thoughts are on all the games that I have played and all my hot takes on the series, including my theories about the big reveal at the end of Requiem. Let's get into it. Like any gamer growing up in the 90s, I knew about Resident Evil. You could not avoid or ignore this franchise. You would see commercials on TV for the games on PS1 and N64, and I would see the Toybiz figures in stores and in magazine ads and preview articles, like inside my brother's leased toy review magazines, action figure digests, and toy fairs. But I didn't play the series that decade. I was an N64 kid. My brother did have Veronica X on PS2 while he was away for college, and I had a PS2 as well at home, but he didn't like it that much and he returned it. It wasn't until the franchise's arrival on the Gamecube that I finally got into the series. And yes, I am referring to the iconic and genre-defining game that is Resident Evil 4.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
When RE4 came out, I was still mostly playing platformer games like Mario and Sonic, and some licensed games as well like the Star Wars tie-ins. But as the PS2, the Gamecube, and the Xbox generation went on, I started expanding my video game tastes and getting into more genres, like hack and slash video games on the PS2 in the form of God of War, open world games like GTA Vice City and GTA San Andreas, and first-person adventure games like Metroid Prime. In large part because I loved reading video game magazines of the time, like Game Informer in particular and EGM, both of which I was subscribed to, and the occasional issue of GamePro that I would buy at the supermarket or the pharmacy. They showed me what else was out there, including the Resident Evil series, and at a certain point it became impossible to ignore RE4. The reviews were just too good, and people were gushing about the over-the-shoulder camera and the gameplay and the controls. And I never enjoyed games with tank controls and fixed camera angles, like the old ones. So when I heard about this new style Resident Evil game and how important and innovative it was, I felt like I had to be a part of the conversation. So I got it at a game store, I think it was probably Babaje's at Plaza, and I started playing on the old tube TV that I had in my room back then. And I still have that TV, by the way, but I doubt that it works. And the game was amazing and it blew me away.
Monsters. Guess after this there'll be one less to worry about.
RE4 impressed me with its gameplay and how well paced it was. I was never bored, and I loved the story, the atmosphere, and the characters, like the cheesy and weird little man that was Ramon Salazar, the fallen Castellan.
How dare you! No more games! Kill him! Kill!
I loved all the banter between Leon and this foe, and I was intrigued by the shared past between Leon and Ada. But it would be many years till I learned more about them when I finally played RE2 in the remake form. But yeah, RE4 was fun and at times hilarious, especially when the Ganados would speak in Spanish. I understood everything they said because Spanish is my first language, and I think it enhanced my experience playing the game, being able to understand everything that they were saying. I loved hearing them say things like, "I'm going to grind you into meat.
Te voy a hacer picadillo.
It's time for you to pray.
Que empieces a rezar.
And the to die is to live chant."
Morir es vivir, morir es vivir.
And many other iconic lines.
Oh, la campana. Es hora de rezar. Tenemos que irnos.
I enjoyed RE4 so much that I did my best to get as many of my friends as possible to play the game. Jonathan played the PS2 version and then he lent it to me so I could play the Separate Ways campaign. And eventually G played several hours of it on PS2, and Troch played the Wii version several years later. And I remember running around like a madman and reenacting scenes from the game in 10th grade, much to everyone's amusement. And I would walk how Leon did in the game, and would use my calculator as if it were a gun. And sometimes one or two of my friends would play along and act like a Ganado or something, and I would be Leon, or vice versa. And yeah, we were doing all this silly stuff in high school, and we did not care, and we were having a lot of fun.
Resident Evil 4 for Nintendo Gamecube. Rated M for mature. Only from Capcom.
When RE5 came out for the PS3, I played that game to death. First I played the demo like 20 times or more, including with Alexis, Christian, Angel, Troch, and others. And I played the actual game over and over and over, and I got a bunch of the trophies. I played the story in co-op with a neighbor of mine, Wilfred, mostly in couch co-op and split screen mode, but we also played it online a few times. And with the Sensei, I played the Mercenaries mode many times. I remember some years later during the pandemic, we were playing the Mercenaries mode on the PS4 HD version one night, and it was very nostalgic and so much fun. We have to do that again someday, and in person next time. RE5, just like RE4, is one of my favorite games of all time. It may not be as good as RE4, but it's still an amazing game and one of the best co-op experiences I've ever had. It was incredible to be able to experience an entire Resident Evil game from start to finish with a friend, both online and in person. And that's something that needs to return to the series. Co-op for an entire game, a game built around co-op. And I love the game so much that I even got the NECA figures of Chris, Sheva, and the Mangini Executioner, and I still have them. I gotta clean them up and display them on my video game area of my toy display, or in one of the horror areas. I do wish I had the ones from Resident Evil 4 that NECA made, and the ones that Toybiz made for the older games in the 90s, but sadly I don't. I only have a little figurine of Leon that I found at a comic convention some years ago. But yeah, on to RE6 for a moment. I played the demo of Resident Evil 6 when that was posted on PSN, but I was underwhelmed by it. It wasn't bad, but I wasn't blown away by it. I still bought the game anyway, but I never got around to playing it. To this day, I still have not touched the PS3 version of RE6. But I did play a few hours of the Switch 2 version recently, but more on that later, okay? I'll come back to it. But yeah, at the time, I skipped RE6, and I skipped 7 and 8 for now. I intend to play them, and I bought the Switch 2 versions of both of those games, so I'll play them after I play Requiem, which is Resident Evil 9. And I want to play the Revelations games as well, and I think part of the reason why I skipped so many games at the time is because the series was moving away from the style of RE4 and RE5 and becoming more horror focused again, which I know delighted the 90s Resident Evil fans of course, but I grew up with Resident Evil in the 2000s, so I prefer the action horror combo than just straight up horror. But I did play RE2 Remake and I liked it a lot, it was great.
Don't shoot! Get down!
RE2 was a game that I always wanted to get remade, so it was a dream come true. It was hard for me at times because I am very bad at games filled with puzzles and tricky environments to explore. It was kind of like a Metroid Prime game or a Metroidvania game at times, but third person, like the Jedi games for example. But it was good, and I did beat it, and I loved getting to finally experience the story of Resident Evil 2. I finally saw Claire in the Resident Evil game, and I saw how Leon and Ada met and how their complicated story began. As I said already, I skipped all the RE games after this, 7 and 8 I mean, but then RE4 came out, and that one I did not skip. But yeah, the story of Resident Evil 2 hooked me, seeing Leon as a rookie cop and seeing that Racoon City incident that is at the heart of the series, and that still continues to inform the series, the story, and its characters to this day. The scars that they all have from Racoon City are deep, and I'm glad that I got to see those events, finally, and play them.
As long as we stick together, we'll be fine. Come on.
Before RE Remake came out, I started playing RE4 for the first time since the Gamecube days. And I'm glad that I replayed it because it was a blast replaying it. I can safely say that Resident Evil 4 holds up perfectly well. So the existence of that remake is less justified than the previous remakes, but I am glad that it exists, because I ended up playing the remake a little bit later into that year, and I loved how they modernized the game without changing so much that it became another game, like in the case of the FF7 remakes, because those aren't remakes, those are complete reimaginings. This is not a reimagining, but it's also not one-to-one. It's a nice point between those two things, but much closer to the remake than to a reinvention. But I do miss the cheesy and crazy vibe of the original version. Salazar, for example, is just not the same. His voice and appearance was more memorable in the original game.
Did you say old man, Mr. Kennedy? It might come as a surprise, but I'm only 20 years old.
And I do prefer the design and the voice of Leon in the original version as well. But I enjoyed many of the new face likenesses and the outfits for characters like for Ada, Luis, and Ashley. But I still prefer the original game, so I do see myself going back to it in the future, but the remake is amazing too, and I'll probably replay it again, because it was very, very good.
So who are you working for this time?
Oh, Leon. You know I don't work in town.
It's 2026 now, and the new game is out in the form of Resident Evil 9 or Resident Evil Requiem, as it's officially called. and it looks amazing, and it has Leon in it. I will be playing it soon enough. I already got it for Switch 2 in the bundle that comes with 7 and 8, so it's gonna happen soon enough. And I imagine that I'll make a video afterwards giving my take on the game. I did play a little bit of RE6 this year, finally, after ignoring it for so many years, and I will play more of that later. But so far, I think the game is okay. Not bad like some people say, but not all that great either. I won't say much more. I will give my proper opinion about RE6 after I have beaten it sometime later this year, because my focus right now will be on Requiem. And speaking of Requiem, I already heard the details of the end of the game. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I know that Leon is married in this game, and I have seen how the internet has been torn apart by this. There's Ada, Claire, and even Elena as possible wives. The two big ones being Claire and Ada. And I personally love the cat and mouse game that Leon and Ada have. Clearly these two can't seem to forget about each other and continue to run into each other in both the games and the CG movies. It's as if fate keeps bringing them together. But Ada is a shifty character, and Leon is good and noble to its core. So while part of me would love it if Ada was who he ended up with, if she changed enough and changed her ways, but Claire makes more sense due to both characters being so pure heart and selfless. And they also seem to run into each other a lot, and have a lot of characters and friendships in common, like Sherry and Claire's brother Chris. Honestly, I'm fine either way, as long as they justify the decision and write good stories involving the couple in the future. But yeah, I'm dying to know who the wife is. Let me know in the comments who you hope Leon ended up with, and if you think they will reveal it someday, and if so, when and how. I love this IP, and I'm glad that I grew up with Resident Evil when I did, because playing RE4 in high school and RE5 in college was a blast. Those two games have stayed with me all these years later, and memories of discussing RE4 at school and reenacting scenes at school are ingrained in my mind forever. And so are the memories of playing RE5 with so many people, both at my parents' house via split screen and online. I love the games, I love the merchandise, I love the stories, the characters, the lore. The only thing I'm not too fond of is the movies. The live action ones, I mean. I only saw the first one from start to finish, and I didn't like it that much. And the show on Netflix was weird. I am still waiting for a proper adaptation that is more loyal to the games, scarier, and high budget. Because the last one was very cheap. And I love what I've seen online of the animated ones. I've seen many clips, and I intend to do a binge of them soon enough. But yeah, I love the games that I played, and I love the IP in general, and I always will.
Get down!
Thank you for watching the video, it means a lot, it always does. And I promise to get more into the series as time goes on, because I have a lot of catching up to do. Let me know in the comments which games you recommend the most, and let me know your favorite games, toys, movies, and memories associated with the franchise as well. And yes, we will continue to cover Resident Evil on this channel, so stay tuned for more. So if you like Resident Evil, video games in general, pop culture, and you're a nostalgic person, then this is your channel. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't yet, and once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.